Hello, juniors, and welcome to this week's episode of your Senior Project Advisory video series. Today's goal is to complete Section B, My Learning, and start Section C, My Plan, in your proposal. Please make sure your Chromebook is out and ready, and find your proposal in your Google Drive. Here we go. As you are finding your proposal in your Google Drive, it is always a good idea to go to the Senior Project website and click on Specific Project Guidelines. Find the sheet of guidelines for your project category. Having this open on a separate tab will help you remember to go back and forth referring to the guidelines and make sure that you include all of the required components. It will also give you examples for what you can learn and what you must produce for your documentation evidence. Once you have your proposal open and your specific project guidelines for your category open on another tab, we are ready to begin. Over the past week, we hope you have completed Section A, My Idea. Take a quick scan of what you have completed so far. Make sure that it is a detailed summary paragraph of your idea. It should be at least 8 to 12 complete sentences. It needs to describe what your final product or performance will be in detail. What will you learn? How will you showcase this learning in your final product? Who specifically will be your consultant? Be sure to include the first name and last name of the consultant and why he or she is qualified to help you learn this. When approximately will you work on this? And why do you want to learn this? Why is it exciting to you or interesting to you? Once you answer all of those questions, we feel confident you'll be at 8 to 12 sentences. Today our hope is to complete Section B, My Learning, and continue with starting Section C, My Plan. Remember that on your specific project guideline sheet, you will have examples of learning steps. It is important that these steps are anchored in your category, meaning they should be related to what you are learning in a specific fashion. They shouldn't be general, and they should not include things like I will learn time management or people skills, or I will learn how to communicate. It also shouldn't be anything too easy that you clearly already know how to do, such as I will learn to find a game schedule, or I will learn to find the school where I'm teaching, or I will learn how to buy supplies. These are skills you already have. So you're looking to complete 5 learning steps that are new skills that you have not learned before and that are aligned to your final product and category. Remember, these should be new skills, not skills that you already have. Once you have completed your 5 learning steps, you will go on to the most detailed section of the proposal. This is Section C, called My Plan. As you look at the template, you notice that it is done in a table format. It is important to know first and foremost that to add or remove rows from the table, you will go to the top and click on the word Table. There you will see Insert Rows and Delete Rows, so be sure to use this if you need to add more rows to your proposal. Remember that you must go in a logical order. Section C, My Plan, is basically your detailed to-do list. This outlines exactly what you will do in the course of learning, practicing, and completing your final product. So the typical order we see is meet with your consultant or your client, start the learning process, take notes from observations or meetings with that consultant. Maybe you find some online resources or online lessons on YouTube and take notes from those. Maybe you're finding vocabulary related to your category. Then you start practicing. Are you making practice pieces? Are you starting to write lesson plans? Are you starting to come together with a business plan on a slide deck presentation? Once you start your learning, typically you will then go back and get feedback from your consultant or client. Write down this feedback. Take notes. You start the process again, relearn what needs to be done next, and continue the production of your final product or working towards your final performance if you're doing performing arts or teaching or coaching. Remember that the steps should be fairly specific, and each step needs a time estimate listed to the far right. At the bottom, you will need to carefully add your hours and make sure the total is 20 hours or more. Remember that everything that you state in Section C, My Plan, is what the judges will be expecting to talk to you about and question you about at senior defense. So try to make it as clear and straightforward as possible and not to leave anything major out. So be sure you include meeting with your client. Be sure you include the practice sessions that you'll need to do. Making a comprehensive and complete plan will make it much easier for you to complete the project because you'll know exactly where you're headed and what needs to be done. If something comes up in the future and you are not able to complete one of the steps listed, that's okay. You can meet with me or Mrs. Meredith and we will revise that step of Section C. However, for the most part, these steps provide a guide in the form of a contract of what you will complete and what you, your proposal grader, and the school in general are agreeing to see from you at senior defense. So we want to make it as clear and efficient as possible. Now that we've given you a reminder about sections A, B, and C, we want to give you the rest of your time in advisory to work on B and C and work towards completing them. Next week, we will continue working on section C and hopefully get it finished. After this week, we only have 3 more advisory sessions together before your draft of your proposal will be due in advisory. So we really want to make sure you're using your advisory time to do a little bit each week, so when it's due, you don't feel like you have hours and hours of work to do the night before it's due. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the consultant and on to the next part of the proposal. Remember that your consultant cannot be a family member, must be an adult 21 years or older, and must have knowledge or experience within your given category. It doesn't mean that it must be his or her job. They just have to have enough experience to help you learn, and they must be willing to meet with you as much as you need. So there is no hard and fast requirement of hours you must meet with the consultant. They are there to support your learning. At this point, we want you to use the rest of advisory to complete sections B and C, referring to those guidelines that you opened in a separate tab. There is no quiz to take today. We will return and have a quiz next week after the next lesson. Please try to complete sections A, B, and C to stay on track, as we have 3 advisory visits left before this is due. Thank you so much for your attention, and we look forward to next week's video.